Hi, yearbookers. Um, in this tutorial, we're going to go over some of the basics of page design. Again, just as a review, to show you some of the different kinds of things and tools that you will be able to use when you design a spread or a page. You will each be assigned a section of the yearbook or to design some pages, and so you're going to need to know a little bit about doing some page design. We did it once before, but this is just a little refresher. Again, this is an example of a layout of Jimmy Flynn. But before you get started on your section, the first thing you're going to do is open up InDesign, click on File, and go to Open. You're going to go to, in the 2017 yearbook folder, you're going to go to the Templates folder. Make sure when you use this that you click on to the template and immediately save it into the section that you want to be using within the Pages folder. Something that happened today, for example, is I went to click on the page spread and I got this. So this is an example of what should not happen. When you are working on your section, do not resave the template with all of your layout on it. The template should be absolutely clean. This should have been saved into the Pages folder with whatever page this was. It was probably a Candidates page. Another thing to make sure of is to know where it is that you're designing. In this case, this person is designing on page 8 of a 13-page spread. I think what they probably meant to do was to start up here at page 2. So be aware of where you are in the spread. You can also look at the view by fitting the entire pasteboard on the spread. So you're starting at the first few spreads and continuing all the way down. You don't want mistakes like this to happen because it's going to get very confusing for you. So that aside, you're going to go to Open, click on the page spread template. Now this will open up a blank template. Notice that there are 13 pages here. We don't actually need all of those, so I'm just going to click on the first one and hold the Shift key, and select all of these pages that I'm not going to be using. And I'm going to put those in the trash can. So now I'm only working with this page. Once I get the spread set up, I can duplicate this spread from up here, and I can just say duplicate spread, and it'll give me a second spread of what I already designed. So these are just some things to keep in mind. Just quickly again, you'll notice that there's a red line that goes around outside of the black line that shows where the page will be. This is called the bleed area, and if you have color going off the page, you have to make sure to bring that color all the way out to the bleed area. This has to do with how the pages are cut. Content-wise, all content should be put within this pink border here. This is the gutter area, and this is where the spine of the book is created. And then this just gives us enough area so that if something happens in the cutting of the pages, that if somehow the die slips, we're not going to lose anything major as long as it's not down here in this margin area. So that's just some quick examples of how to use this layout. Now we're going to go ahead and design a page. You'll notice that if I scroll up here, I'll see a singular page. Normally you want to be designing for the spread. Unless you have a single page, you might use that, but most of the time you're going to be using your spread pages. So I just wanted to show you a little bit on how to use the tools and refresh your memory on how to begin a layout. So here you'll find the rectangle tool. If you click any of these tools, if you see this little arrow, it usually means that there are other tools underneath it. But I'm going to put for now a color background on this spread. So I'm going to go all the way up to the, whoops, you can see here that the spread already has color and a fill. I can take off this fill, and the fill is 1 point, but I can make it 0 so that there is no black line, and you'll see that that red line comes through the stroke area. I also really don't like this color, so I'm just going to change that here. And our theme is water or island, so I'm probably going to pick something, let's say blue just for now, or purple, I guess. We'll find some nice meaning. How about periwinkle? If there's a color that you really like, you can always add a CMK swatch to the color section. It will show up for you if you go to window, and you can see here that you can turn on the color. Right now it's not going to let me do that because I still have to finish this action. Okay, so here is my square. Now you can see right here that it actually is not, does not go all the way down. So I'm going to go to the select tool here, and I'm just going to click this and pull it all the way down to the bleed edge. I really want to make sure that I have that color going all the way to the bleed. The reason for that is that the color is bleeding off of the edge. Now you see how I have to scroll a little bit? I can go here to the magnifying tool, and if I hit Option, it'll zoom out, and you see the negative, and if I take the Option key off, you get the positive, so you zoom back in, but I still want to kind of see the whole page here. Okay, so now I'm going to add maybe something else on top of that. So maybe I'm going to add a picture. So I'm going to do the same thing. I can place an image with this, but I can also do it with the rectangular tool, but I'm just going to try this. Again, I'm going to hold this down. And you get these other kinds of tools too, but for right now I'm going to do this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my photograph in here. I'm going to kind of use it as a background. And you see it has the X through it. I'm going to go up here to File, Place. Now, this is where it's really important that we have the photographs well organized. And I've already done something wrong here. I'm going to put this picture in, and then I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to go here to the art server. I'm going to find a picture that I want to put in there. And so I'm going to go to the Photos folder. That's where all of our pictures should be. And just to make things less confusing, I'm going to double click into that folder so that I'm not accidentally saving things or pulling things from places that I'm not really sure where I am. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to backgrounds. I'm going to double click into backgrounds, and I'm going to pick maybe this one. Now I can look at these here as larger thumbnails. I can also click here and look at them in the slider window. I've got some sunsets here. I've uploaded some pictures for this tutorial. You can use them too if you like them. So I'm going to hit open, and that is going to place the image into the window that I made. Now my picture is much bigger than this, and you might notice that this is pixelated a little bit. So I can kind of test that. I can go up here to the view and go to screen mode. Screen mode will show me, normal shows me all of the bleeds and the gutter areas and all of that. I can go to preview, and I can just look at what that page would actually look like without without the bleed lines and so forth. But for this, we don't really need to know. That doesn't really matter at this point. So I'm going to go back here to view, and I'm going to go to screen mode normal, and I'm going to get back all the bleed information and the content area boxes. And I'm going to go down here to display performance, and I'm going to go to high quality display. Now, that is still looking pixelated. So this could be one of two things. One, it could be that my photo isn't big enough. I did take these with my phone. But notice what I just did. So when I click on this once, this is the frame for the picture. Now, I can make my frame bigger or smaller, but the picture is still behind it. And so to get to the picture, I have to double click in the frame. And now you see the hand tool? I can move this around and I can actually frame out what I want from the picture. So right here, I'm going to just shrink this down a little bit smaller. And it's going to look a little less pixelated, but it's probably still not really good enough to use, but for this example, I'll go with it. Okay, so here's my picture. In the background, I'm going to hit enter and click off of the box, and now I can kind of see what it looks like. So now I can do a few things here. I can affect the stroke. Now, if you look up here, you can see that there's no stroke and there's no fill, obviously, because the picture is filling it, right? I didn't put in a fill like I did here on the background. But I can look at different things that I can do to the stroke. But in order for that to happen, I have to actually put a stroke on it. Right now, it has nothing. So for right now, and if I go for right now, maybe I could pick something. Actually, I can go here and I can sort of pick maybe a color. I don't really love these colors, but let's see. Let's see what we can do here. So I can click on this. I can slide these toggles around. Here's my stroke window, and I can control the type of stroke that's on here from these windows. I can also change the point size, but I'm still really not liking that color. So I'm just going to go up here and click again, and let's just pick something that might be a little bit brighter. You can use these slider tools here. Everything's looking a little funky. All right, so let's just pick this purple color. All right, and so now there probably are dots here, but I'm not seeing them because they're not big enough. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the point size, and you can see what's happening. I'm starting to get dots around there. Now, maybe dots isn't the best thing. Maybe something wavy would be more interesting. So I'm going to do that. And so I'm going to hit OK and just make that work. Now I'm going to go to the solid selection tool, click away from that. And now I've done something with that border. So the next question is, all right, where do you place the pictures? And so I'm going to basically be following the same scenario for pictures, right? So I'm going to make my frames. Now I could go ahead and set up frames ahead of time and then place the pictures in them. So you can see right here I have a frame. I can click Command C to copy it, and then Command V, and that frame, another frame will show up, and I can use that. And I can just continue to do this. I can also say Edit Paste in Place, which means it will place it right over the original. And then all I have to do, I can hold the Shift key and just kind of slide it over, and it'll maintain that line going across. It won't change it. So now I've got 3 going across here. So what I can do now is I can copy these three. So I already have this middle one selected, and I can also click this and this, and now I can copy these. So Command C, and then I can say edit, paste in place. So it's going to paste it right over those old ones. I'm going to hold the Shift key and I'm going to pull down here. Now, if I hold the Shift key, that means that it's not coming out of alignment. It might come out a little bit, but not really too much. So I'm going to put these pictures here. We talked about not having borders, right, in our pictures. So something else I might want to consider to do is maybe bring this one in. I don't have to grab this and slide it in, but I could. So I can just go like this. And so obviously it doesn't make sense to have these, so I'm going to get rid of them. I'm going to select these. I'm holding the Shift key down to select more than one, and I'm just going to click delete. And now I'm going to use this. And again, I'm going to select them. You can also group something, but I wouldn't recommend doing that right away. So I'm going to say Command C, and then I'm going to say edit, paste in place, hold the Shift key down, and pull that one down. I'm going to do the same thing. Edit, paste in place again. That's going to put that trio right above there, and I'm going to pull that down. So maybe that's all I can fit in here right now. So I can also, if I click and drag, I'm going to grab something, right? So sometimes it's better to just select all four, because I'm going to want to move, or all three, because I'm going to want to move this whole thing, and I'm going to bring that down. Whoops, and you can see I forgot some, right? So actually I'm going to finish that, and then I'm going to bring these others down. And I'm just going to I'm using the arrow key here. I'm not pulling them because I want to make sure that they're lined up, and I forgot one up here. Okay, now this does not have a stroke on it, which is fine. But here I've got a place where I can start to paste my photos. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click on one of those. I'm going to call these placeholders. So let's say you're designing a page and you don't have the pictures yet. It's okay, you don't need the pictures, but what you could do is put these placeholders in so we know where you intended to put the photo. So then I can click on this and I can say File, Place again. And maybe we want these to be candids, so I'm going to go to the yearbook folder again. Just to remind you that you don't always have to go all the way back to the yearbook 2014 and go all the way through. Sometimes it'll just pop up here in this upper drop down box, and you can just go ahead and select the 2000 yearbook from that. Sometimes with these windows too, it's kind of annoying because you can't really see all of the folders. So now I'm going to go into Photos, and I'm going to go to Photo Booths, and I'm just going to start to place, I'm just opening some random pictures, and I'm going to bet that when we look at this picture is really huge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to grab the corner, and you see how it's kind of given me that image, and now I'm going to pull it up. So if I only wanted one of the Cooper riders in there and not Josh or whoever that is, I don't have to use the whole picture if I don't want to. I think for the photo booths, though, we really wanted to use the entire body shot, I think. So just check with Livy on that one. All right, so here we go. We've got these guys in here. And then we can just keep going and create this page. Now, let's say you like this whole thing and you don't really want to change it for the next page over here. So again, that's pretty easy. What we're going to do is select everything, including the picture. So you can see here, the picture is selected along with the wavy piece. We're going to click all of this. And we're going to say edit, copy, edit, paste in place, and then we can hold the shift key and bring everything over to where we want it. And if you hold the shift key, then you know you're going to get that duplicate, and while it's all selected, you can kind of tweak that a little bit. Now, let's say we want to continue our spread across the next pages. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to duplicate spread. And it will automatically duplicate that spread into the next set of spreads. So this is one way that you can design a spread and then have it go through an entire section. We haven't gotten into type yet, so we'll do that in the next demo.